we still technically have 3 minutes, but you know.
Who knows? Maybe someone's watching. Oh, I need to pull up. There we go. That's the one last thing I need to do is pull up that so I can see the chat. Where's pop-out chat? Pop it out. There we go. Then I can have it while I watch. There we go. All right. Good. Now I gotta pull up the notes again because I need to read. Is there a way to pop out this page? I'll worry about that for another time. All right, so let's get going. Okay.
First and foremost, to the viewers that are out there, we would like to apologize for our delay in starting. We had some unforeseen technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's what it was. But thank you for tuning in again. You know, it's the first official episode. Yes, it might be still a little random. I'm kind of random as normal. I am Greebog. You know, we also have Nicodemus with us. He's not so random. He's the one that's supposed to keep me on track, I think.
Oh, is that what my job is?
Yes. Because I am random. Yeah. I'll stop before I do another story or tangent here.
Well, our briefing or intro today is going to be a short introduction from both of us. This is going to be a largely repeated from last week, so forgive us for that. I'll go ahead and give you the reins here, Greebog.
Okay, well, as you can see on this screen, I have currently my character, because I'm on the character selection screen here, and this is my main. He's Greebog. I say I'm just an Andorian, but, you know, I have started playing STO way back when Nicodemus grabbed me and brought me in, which was before it went free-to-play, but I can't remember how much before. I know that I picked up the lifetime sub even before it went free to play. So I'm a lifetime subscription person, so I have a few of the perks that you get from that. And you'll see some of that in the character selection and like creation stuff. Well, like I said, my main character is the Andorian. However, if you also see my character selection screen, there are multiples of all of. I have everything. Well, yeah. Look at this.
Hi. I started playing STO during the beta. Joined the lifetime membership as soon as it was made available. As you can see on my screen here, I also have multiple characters, many of them at max level. I've got my Dominion guy, Romulan, my Dahar Master Klingon, and Katis, who's my Federation character and currently my main. As you can see in the image here, he is currently flying an Akira class escort, one of the newer Akiras, but same difference. I play PvP and PvE, although primarily I'm a PvE player. I think that covers it.
Yeah, I also play pretty much PvE because, you know, I don't know. I haven't delved into the all PvP side of things. We'll probably discuss that on another topic on one of the episodes because there's so much probably there to go through.
Our next topic is This Week in STO. Currently, STO is running a special event that they have titled House Divided, focuses on the new Klingon Civil War. The event is currently running, ends on July 30th.
There's a lot of ways that you can make progress on this. You get to do something that is worth 2 points, essentially. Most of them are worth like if you do an episode, I believe that's 2 points. There's 2 episodes that are listed. The center cannot hold and can record, and then also the TFO best served cold is another 2.1, and then patrols. There's 2 patrols in the list. I thought most days maybe, but the patrols essentially they're only 1 point each. It's just you and you just run. You do it's a standard patrol mission. A lot of running around shooting other ships. I kind of like to do the best served cold. How about you?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing mostly. I ran the patrols a couple times if I just wanted to do something quick and dirty, but primarily I'm doing the best served cold, which gets you some crafting material and some reputation material. That seems to be the best thing for me, although I do want to run it on a couple alts, and I'll probably do the episodes for that. They've got some new weapons with those episodes that are not awful, so...
Yeah. And the reward is the Red Angel suit, which is body armor, which has, I think, HP, mobility, and resist all. I think when I was looking at it earlier, anti-proton was the biggest of the resistances it had on it, but it had some resist all on there too, so...
The Red Angel suit also has a self-res ability, so if you die with it active, it will res you once. I think it's once every 60 seconds. So, I mean, in theory, that should be a boon to just about anybody playing the game. I mean, for those who don't know the history of the Red Angel suit, it comes from Star Trek Discovery's 2nd season. It was introduced as a time travel device, and I don't want to get too much into spoilers there, but that's where it comes from.
So many spoilers. It's going to be hard not to spoil things off and on with what... If you're not current on things, I probably won't spoil too much in Star Trek Discovery because I haven't watched all of it yet. But I do know some of the story from what they put into game. So I guess I've been spoiled myself.
Well, it is Star Trek Online, and they try to incorporate things from shows past, present, and in some cases future.
Yeah, so I'm going to say pretty much as long as Picard and Discovery, we will try not to spoil, but probably anything before that is probably going to have something. If you haven't caught up with it by then, we're sorry. But anyway, today's topic, the primary target, will be the character creation, which is why we are both on the Choose Your Character screen. And as you will find out here shortly, there are so many options.
Yeah, too many, actually. I mean, we could spend probably 10 episodes on this, but I'm sure there are other topics people want to hear about too. However, we'll go ahead and start with this. I am going to create a Klingon faction character for you guys to see how that works. I believe Greebog is going to do a standard Federation character. Once again, I will let him take the reins when we start this, and then we'll trade off. You'll see how that will work here shortly. I would like to point out that there are multiple factions here. When you create a character, you choose your faction. There are actually 3 separate Federation factions. There's the Discovery Starfleet, based on characters from Star Trek Discovery. There's the original series, and then the current Starfleet, which is actually what the game started with. And I'm going to hand it over to you, Greebog.
Well, you also have Dominion, which like we'll cover some of these other factions another time more in depth. But if you still want to play with the group that is Klingon Defense Force or Starfleet, you can still create the Dominion or the Romulan Republic. At some point, you're going to be given a choice to pick a side. So don't worry about that right off the bat. But Starfleet has to join Starfleet. Klingon Defense Force has to join the Klingon Defense Force. So, all right. So there are 19 races or species for Starfleet. That does include the alien, which is more encompassing. Essentially, it's a catch-all. If you want to have a special species, like I've seen all kinds of people be super creative with it. Unfortunately, we're not going to cover all what you can do with that one because that's pretty much another whole thing on its own. Like, it would take too long, so it'd probably be best for maybe an episode or a good big segment of an episode because wouldn't you agree there's a lot there.
Oh yeah, the alien creator is just nuts. I have seen in my old fleet there was a guy who actually created a character based on the Kaminoans from Star Wars. If you don't know what they are, look them up. They're kind of interesting. Very tall, lanky, long necks, long arms, white skin, big eyes. He did a passable job at it, and he just did it all through the alien creator.
But you have each race they used to. If I'm remembering correctly, you no longer get set talents from when you select your race anymore. You select your talents later, correct?
There are still race specific ones. The Caitians, for example, still have a pounce, but you don't have to use it. That's the difference. It gives you access to those racial talents, but as you go through, you can replace them with reputation talents or other unlocked talents.
But I think the Liberated Borg, which you can see here, I think was one of the unlocks that I picked up at some point. And I think Caitian, wasn't that also an unlock?
Yeah, I bought the Caitians. The Liberated Borg come from the Lifetime.
Okay, I knew there was. That was like, if you don't see it here, there's probably a reason. I know Talaxian came from when they did the expansion for Delta Quadrant, but they might have made Talaxian everybody.
Honestly, I'm going to be embarrassed to say this, but I'm not honestly sure about that.
They change and add and open up so much stuff that it's sometimes hard to keep track of all of it. Which is not a bad thing. So much content.
Options are never bad.
But yeah, you have your standard humans, you have standard Vulcans, but you have, Trill, Tellarite, Talaxians. If you've seen it in a TV show, it's probably has a slot here. I'm going to pick Cardassian this time because I don't think I have a Cardassian captain.
That's another one I believe you have to buy to unlock the Cardassians.
Probably. I think it came with the when they brought in the Dominion. That expansion. And yes, the game still does do expansions, though you don't have to buy them, but they have a pack normally during the expansions that you can buy that will unlock certain things for you. Some extras.
Races, ships, weapons.
Yep, races, ships. Definitely, most times there's at least a handful of ships. Want to pick your race next, or let me go ahead?
Yeah, I can do that. So, I've got the Klingon officer or Klingon Defense Force officer selected here. There are 10 races: the Firasan, the Gorn, the Joined Trill, Lethean, Liberated Borg, Nausicaan, Orion, Laxian, and the Alien Creator. Which, actually, the random alien there is kind of interesting looking. I think I'm just going to stick with the Klingons since that's one of the basic ones. I do have a request from one of our viewers to pick a female. So this will be a female Klingon Defense Force officer. And I'll go ahead and stick with tactical. All right. I'll let you do your head selection first, and then I'll do mine.
I was also going to do a tactical. For those that don't know the different career paths, I mean, it makes sense one if you sit down and think about it a little bit. They also always have like these little tip windows that will tell you what they are. Tactical are typically the if you're looking for more of a DPS, a damage type build, most people think of tactical. Science, they really strive when doing like buff or debuff builds where yeah. Of course, also
Science is also your healers.
yeah. Also, your ships kind of can help with that too. But yeah, and engineering typically when you're the biggest differences is on ground combat. Is some of the abilities you get for ground combat. Like engineers, you get you can create drones, you can put turrets out, and tactical, you get a grenade, and yeah. So again, I'm gonna pick tactical for this guy.
I prefer tactical. Most of my characters are tactical, but I do typically have one of each specialization per faction, and I try to stick to it. That way, if I'm part of a group that needs something specific, I can switch over. But tactical tends to be what I think is the easiest to play, and therefore my favorite.
Now there are preset heads or builds that you can pick if you just want a quick and easy. And a lot of them is just being a little slow right now. Awesome. But like you can select them, and eventually it will update. But like you'll see like it'll change the face some and skin tone and stuff like that. So, or you can go into the head and build it all yourself with the hair and coloring and all of that. And if you decided that you wanted to change whether you're male or female, while you're in this builder, you have that option again to select that. Uh-oh.
Well, that's not fair.
I lost you on your stream stuff.
It'll be back up. Give me a second.
But so you can also rotate them, and then you can get a better look at their hair. Since Nikitas had the request for a female, I will do a female this time too.
My STO actually crashed there, but I am back. So if you want to share that again.
Already back. It used the same window, so hey, we're good.
Cheers.
Interesting, there are bands in the hair. So many choices. I kind of like the these bands that she has on. I don't know why. So coloring. This is where you get all kind. You can change the skin color. There is a set limit on the tones, and it'll vary a little bit based off of the race that you've picked or species. Because I think Andorians, like, they are typically more a pale, like either white, blue, or I don't know that they have too much of an earthy tone to them at all. I don't know that I like the green for That's almost glow in the dark. Go ahead
I
and
don't
pick your
think you
color.
need I don't think you need to glow in the dark. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Go ahead and pick your. Start working on your head, because like I'm just gonna be, yeah.
Okay. So at the top of the page here, there are two buttons. You've got a randomize button and a reset. So you can see here from my character how she's at currently. I hit random a couple times, and then I can reset it back. If you wanted to, you could just hit random until you get a grouping that you like and go with that, or you can select your options. You can have a smooth-headed Klingon if you so chose, like they were in TOS, but I'm going to go ahead and do ridged.
So many hair colors.
Yeah, we said there was options, and options there is. For the Klingons, you can actually pick what their head ridges look like. They even have the thin headlines here if you wanted to be kind of like B'Elanna from Voyager and be a half-breed. But I'm going to go with number 8.
Yeah, you went into the advanced. I'm like, I'm now looking at the advanced. I'm like, yeah. Oh, you can change the scales.
Yeah, you can adjust just about everything you want to adjust.
All the hairstyles. Some of this, well, actually, I don't think a lot of this is actually purchased required. I know you get to that once you get the uniforms, though. I like the band, so there. There's even head coverings. Oh, that's the Emancipator. That's right. That head covering. Yeah, you have visors. You have like so if you wanted to do a Geordie style character, you do have an options for that. Or this is more the Dominion here. This visor, the one eyepiece.
Yep, straight out of DS9 there. Gonna go with some purple hair here because, you know, why not?
See, and I went with the blue.
So here you have the actual head scaling options, and I wanted to spend a moment on this. You can change everything here from the individual size of your character's head, width, height. You can read through the rest of the options there. There's just a ton of stuff. It is totally possible to make something really unique, even among the individual races. Yes, the options are more limited than what you get with the Alien Creator, But you can certainly make your character so that they are unlike any other character in the game. And when you have a game of, I think we have just over 1 million players currently, that's can be kind of important.
So many options.
As before, each section also has a random and reset button. So if you just want to click random until you find something you like, I tend to prefer a little bit more control as I'm going through options. Some of the changes are pretty subtle from what you can see here. Some of them are pretty drastic.
Well, some of them are hard to see with your, depending upon your hairstyle. Because I was playing with the cranium slope and width here, and I'm like, I can't see the difference, and it's because of the hairs covering it all up. Or almost all of it. Get a fat head here.
Honestly, that was just rude.
What? No, I'm doing head width here. Yes, if I did this, she had a thicker head. That's all.
I'm gonna give her those, what did they call it in Deep Space Nine? Those bedroom eyes. So you can do the brow furrow here. You can make your character look really angry. That's a pretty drastic change there, as you can see. Moving on to the nose. The nostril position always made me laugh. Really high with an angular nose.
There are some, like, you can get some really interesting looks if you. Yeah. How alien do you want to look? Okay.
Here's another fairly drastic change in the lip fullness.
This is one of the reasons why I don't normally go through the advance, because it will take me forever to get this just the way I want it.
See, I do it the other way. I prefer this. If I spend an hour making a character, that's normal.
Well,
Okay, so I am ready to move on to the body options.
sure you are. I'm still thinking. I'm on the nose, and
I'll wait on you. You gotta do that fine detailing. You know, this kind of reminds me in the episodes of Star Trek where the various doctors in the shows have to dress up, members of the crew as different alien races. I know Picard at one time was made into a Romulan. Several of them in Deep Space Nine were made to look like Klingons. But several times in the episodes, they go to some unknown alien world and they're just made up to look like the various aliens. So how how much perfection does the doctors have varies on the individual doctor, but I can see them being nitpicky, like I gotta get the nose just right.
I guess I'm ready for body, and this can go all over the place again. I'm definitely tinkering with this lady's body some because the
Do you have
default
any
looks a
idea?
little odd. I know it sounds weird because
I had to. I had to. That being said, since we are making female characters, if you look through the list here, you got stomach size, waist size, hips, shoulders, torso, neck, even the bust size is in here.
in the basic you do have you can change some things. You only have like your stance and height really that you can alter. Um, it all depends on what kind of stance you want your character to take while just standing there. It kind of gives them a feel, I guess, so to speak, as a character. I've never understood the creature one for that stance.
It works really well with the Ferengi.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah.
The randomized button is really not liking me today.
That actually looks not too bad. Oh, and you can still zoom in and out with the scroll of the mouse wheel if you want to zoom in and out. So you don't have to sit back and watch. So dramatic of music while you're creating a character. I think that's coming from the the Klingon side there.
Your stats in here do not affect your character's ability in combat. So all the stuff you're seeing with bulk, yes, that's talking about muscle mass, but how your character looks does not affect the in-game stats. So make your character however you see fit. Again, each section also has the randomize or the reset button. The random was not liking me earlier, so I'm just going to go ahead and do everything manually here.
I have seen some people do some crazy arm length. You can get silly lengths. To me, that's like, yeah. I do tend to favor some bulk on my uh, tactical officers, but that is a little bit because they have to kind of sometimes get rough and tumble out there. Helps to have some bulk. Pick on some of those people, some of those aliens that are doing bad things or whatnot. You went back to the head.
I was fixing the tattoo I gave her. I didn't really care for, so I picked a different one. You can also have access to this in game. So if you want to change something about your character later, have access to the full character creator in game. I am ready to move on to uniform.
So am I.
All right. Uniforms are unlocked through gameplay, through purchases.
And sometimes free. They'll just offer free stuff, especially around holidays or, anniversaries for the game. They'll offer normally free items. A lot of times there is at least a uniform in there or some uniform pieces.
True. As you can see, as I'm going through some of the options here, there are a lot of different ways to kind of decorate your character.
And there are all kinds of uniforms that, apparently I would assume I have it. I think the character creation only shows what you have access to. It doesn't show you the stuff you have to purchase. I think once you are inside the game and at a tailor, that's where you can actually choose stuff that you could purchase and spend the Zen and stuff on. Apparently, I have the Terran Mirror TOS stuff. And of course, there are ripped uniform shirts from the original series because Kirk could never get through an episode without one.
Isn't that the truth? Good old Kirk.
Jackets. So many choices. What do I do? If you struggle with making choices, this is not the way to build a character.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Oh yeah, the Intel outfits. I forgot about those. I did used to like running around in the Odyssey style.
I really liked the Odyssey as well. I thought that was a really good uniform that they came up with. These days, as anybody watching my character can see, I really am fond of the Alliance uniform.
Let's see, which one was... Where's that one? Oh, I have it. There it is. And you even came up with a color scheme for it all and everything.
I did, just based off the picture that they gave us, which was kind of from a distance, so hard to say how accurate I actually got, but I think it looks good.
Wait, I think this is the gold color one. Other is supposed to. One that you were picking for. Or am I wrong? I know you had gold in there on one of them.
For which one?
For the Alliance outfit.
Shirt or pants? What are you working on?
I'm working on the jacket.
Gold was the gold was the last one, and I used A7. Oh yeah, I should point that out. So the color schemes. So anytime you pull up the color wheel here, you'll see a letter and a number at the bottom. So G1, H7. That's a way for you to keep track of what you're using, and if you wanted to give multiple characters the same uniform code, you could just write those numbers down. I've shared them online occasionally if I found a uniform I really like the Alliance one. It just makes it easier to redo uniforms on multiple characters or even your bridge officers, which I'll get to in a minute.
Badge. I have so many badges. A lot of the
Now,
badges are unlocks. Like some are from achievements, some are from just completing certain story missions. Yeah. Some of them are from packs.
I think I'm pretty much done with her. I went ahead and left the Klingon spine armor on, even though it's not officially part of this uniform. I just like the way that spine armor looks. I gave her a family sash, as you can see, from her right shoulder down to her left hip. The sashes I've always felt were very Klingon. Even Worf used to wear his on the Next Generation, despite being a Starfleet officer. And it doesn't look bad with the uniform. The color is a little different, but it doesn't look bad. Trying to remember where the stances are. It looks like they may have moved them.
The stances were in the body basic.
Oh, yes, there it is. Okay.
I don't know if there was a stance option anywhere else.
I see the height is also there.
So it is good to look at the basic options every so often because some settings apparently are not have an advanced option.
A lot of people that play this game really like to have their characters be super tall. I am not a huge fan of that. I prefer more realistic. But hey, it's your character. You do what you want. I'm making my unnamed female character here. We're going to give her a 5'10" height. And I think I'm going to go with the feminine stance. Although she is Klingon, so maybe Brawler would be more effective.
Maybe she's feeling cute today.
Yeah, okay, we'll go with cute. That's a valid argument.
I mean, who's to judge the Klingon? I'm not gonna judge a Klingon, that's for sure. Get my ass kicked.
That's a good way to get a knife in your gut. So as you can see, there are many, many options in the character creator, and even more if you go into the alien creator, which, as Greebog said, we will touch on at another time. I went ahead and gave my character here some pointed ears, even though that's more of a Vulcan thing and not Klingon. I think it goes well with this hairstyle, which I love, by the way. This thick purple braided hair. I can only imagine how much work it would take to, do that hairstyle in real life, but there you go.
So, since we will be doing Alien at another time, I would say if you have a request for Alien, what alien species you want us to try to make, the top, like, if we get multiple people asking for this, like, similar ones, and we have two that seem to be the most popular requests, we'll pick those, and Nikitas will try to make one, and I will try to make the other. I don't know how good I will be at it. Nikitas probably will be better, so we'll see.
Oh, that's cringeworthy. Don't give me too much credit. I've only done the Alien Creator a couple times.
And you can let us know by, like, Facebook or fleetactionreport@gmail.com. Let's,
Try not to be too far out there with your request.
I mean, what further the better, right? Oh. I think I'm ready. What's next? Isn't next just go?
Well, more or less.
Name.
You still have to do a name and your ship name. Now, your starter ship is the same. It's faction based, but is going to be the same for every character. You can change that later by purchasing a new ship or earning ships through leveling, but the starter ship is always the same. So the only thing you get to pick for your starting ship is your name.
Some of the names on these random ship names, if you don't come up with a name, I sometimes just amuse myself by looking at ship names, random ones. Oh, here we go. I'm going to be made backwards. That's the ship name.
I could see you flying around in the USS made backwards.
Well, it's a damn. Or
I get it. I get it, but the way you said it, just be funny to see the USS made backwards.
Oh, here. Because no one will get this name except for one of my friends that probably won't even Oh, there. Her name is... This is a D&D reference that only one person knows where this name comes from. For now.
I mean, it's not Greebog?
No. I like to get creative with my character names. A middle name. Sure, that'll work. And yes, I do. Formal names are optional. I kind of like to sometimes come up with a formal name because, I don't know, it's fun. I sometimes, well, role-playing games and stuff, I tend to like to think of characters as a person and what would they really be like, so, I guess I'm ready to hit engage.
So hitting engage is going to take us into the game itself. You'll get to see our ship and a little bit of the startup here. I'm actually going to back out. I think we have time. Yeah, I'm going to back out and create another character. If anybody has a request, you can choose between Dominion or Romulan. I'll go ahead and save this character for now, too.
Don't you have to hit engage to save?
I did.
So, as soon as you hit engage, you immediately get tossed into the tutorial.
Complete with startup cutscene. Cinematic, that's what I was trying to think of.
I was like, should I do the tutorial on screen? Sure. It's going to be different between Klingon and Federation, obviously.
And the Klingon startup just got rehashed.
I'll have to do that again. They have Leonard Nimoy doing a lot of narration, and they have kept a lot of that in. Even though, unfortunately, that he has passed, and so we cannot have any more new narration from him. I really, that's one of the things I love about this game, is they bring in so many of the actors to voice their character parts, if they can.
Including some secondary characters.
Yeah, they truly care about the story and getting it told properly, appropriately. Because like if they go into the detail of getting, Jerry Ryan to come back to do 7 of 9, and all, I mean they even like unfortunately Scotty Dugan, or well, I call him Scotty Dugan. That's not his name. But for Scotty, they unfortunately can't bring in James. His name or his son? Now I'm screwing that up in my head.
James Doohan was the original Scotty.
Okay, since he has passed, they brought his son in, who does a really good, like Scotty. And if you didn't know ahead of time, I don't know that I would have known it wasn't him. Wow, you start at Starfleet Academy now.
You do. You really haven't made a new character in a while, have you?
I'm used to getting in a fight and having to take over or reclaim my ship, and
Yeah, it's a different experience now, and each faction is a little different. So, like the Discovery Starfleet is different from the TOS Starfleet, which is different from the regular Starfleet.
all right, I got to do all the practice stuff. Okay, so some awesome things they put into game, like here, like this is teaching you to run around and find people or find objectives, and so in the distance you can see how there is the 3 chevron arrow pointing at the next person. Also, if you were to look on the map, and you can see a target circle on roughly where they should be. You can also see it in the mini map if you zoom in better.
Oh, I just realized they don't have the liberated Borg for the Dominion faction.
No, they don't. I don't know that the Borg were technically Dominion, any of them. I don't know that there's been any liberated, Dominion Borg.
Not in canon. I have a request for a Dominion character, so I'll run through this real quick.
I don't know, maybe it's because it's DS9. Maybe it's because of I don't know. I've really enjoyed the storyline with the Dominion, and then when they put it into STO, I've really enjoyed the storyline there. So, I've kind of enjoyed the Jem'Hadar as a playable race. That's kind of why before they brought them in, once I got some of the Jem'Hadar ships that they brought in, I was flying those around. tutorial also shows you how, like, if something's off the map a little bit, it puts an arrow pointing you in which way to go. So, like, here I have the arrow pointing this way. Also, there should be a, on the up at the top, you have a, like, thing that's guiding you. And if you were to run just by this, I'm so bad at following it. But if you just actually look at your mini-map, it'll give you a better idea where to go. Ratha. Yeah, the compass is where I have a bad habit of not following it quite so well. See what's on his. So he has a few of the models of the ships on his shelf here. When you have a command room and whatnot, you can do that yourself. Your captain's quarters.
As you can see here on this character creator for the Jem'Hadar, they have access to the same Alliance uniform that my Klingon did. I'm not going to use it for this character, but that is the first uniform that they made available to every faction.
I'm getting ready to take the advanced tactical test. I don't like how, I don't know. Not sure I like how they made the run. I think it's because of the stance I picked.
Have you seen?
Golden Gate Bridge, if you haven't ever seen it up close, that's pretty much what it looks like. I got to drive across it once. Well, I guess I was in a car that went across it. But, you know.
They actually did really well with that.
My pistol out. And now to the hologram, or holodeck. I guess it's not really a holodeck, hollow room. I guess it says it's a holodeck. I think of a deck as being a full deck. You know.
Maybe it is, and you just don't know it.
So again, with combat, what I like to do, if you hit C, it'll crouch. That reduces damage you take a little. And if you hit X, it lets you, basically you're looking down the sights to give you better accuracy. To help you do more damage. So. I think I remember actually doing this. Been a while, but you know.
It's been a while since I've been through this too.
Shuttle bay. There's a shuttle bay here? All right.
There is.
Down the hall. Like I said, it's been a while. All right, I have to make a toast. Here, here. Be awesome or something.
Well, there's my new Jem'Hadar, guys. Ran through him real quick there. I really like this uniform. This was a purchased uniform. It came with one of the packs that they put out when the Dominion expansion was released. Dominion colors tend to be grays and purples. I added a little gold for some flair, but I still have the gold and purple in there for more official appearances. The red hair, just because I like the color red. But that's a quick and dirty way for character creation.
Here we are flying off to our new ship. More cinematic from Nikitas. Honor first. Or honored first.
Yeah. Still think the Dominion, the Jem'Hadar specifically, have a lot in common with Klingons, even though in universe they don't seem to think so.
Yeah, well, you learn a lot about them and interesting. Yeah. I don't want to spoil the story. They answer a lot of questions that some people brought up with the whole DS9 when they were in there, and also when they had them back in, STO. And how could you make them a playable race, considering certain things?
They did pretty good with it. I mean, all told, STO is considered non-canon, but they use a lot of information from canon sources. They do pretty good with it.
Containment cells at this penal. Number of prisoners are attempting to escape. Their likely destination is the
Odo's Dominion.
Now, yeah. So that was a pretty good view of multiple ways of making characters there. You got Federation, Klingon, and short Dominion view here.
I haven't gotten to, well, you saw me get to do the training, which was minor combat.
I'm actually running through a combat as well, although mine is not training. Fighting Romulans right now. We were fighting Cardassians.
Well, you know. Cardassians, Romulans, they're all over the place. Both of them.
Boss.
There's even a Cardassian on my bridge. Oh wait, that's me. Looks like you're dealing with Orion Syndicate.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder about this.
A large number of prisoners are escaping the heading your way. Stop them.
Oh, they're prisoners, that's why. They're from all over.
Apparently.
Don't let them get away. Kill them all.
Well, that would be the Dominion way to handle it, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Three minutes.
I think I angered some people. Well, that was fun.
Seen enough. Well,
I am purposely going through everything fast to avoid spoiling too much of the story for anybody who may be watching.
I'm kind of skipping through some of it too because of the same reasons. This part, for the most part, I've done at least once or twice, or probably more than that.
Greetings.
You know.
Exit the way you.
So what I skipped over was some cutscenes to show that the ship's under attack, and I am helping to get some weapons for me and my crew members. And this is where you get your first upgrade weapon. So if you notice, I still have down here on the hotbar, it's only got the phaser. You can just switch it over, but since I didn't equip it technically yet, this is what they're training you for, is to switch it over. I still like to keep two weapons on me, even if I have the, yeah. I don't punch things much. You can use the mini-map to tell you how soon you're going to come up on people. Some people might think it's cheating, but it's not. I mean, they wouldn't give you a mini-map, and technically sensors would tell you where enemies are relative to you. And here they're talking about flanking. If you are behind somebody, you can you'll get flank damage, which is increased damage. So you get a hypo spray, which allows you to heal people, get them up off the floor. You will sometimes use that in you know how to use like you'll sometimes have to use it to get certain NPCs up off the ground. Sometimes you'll have to, if you are doing a very hard combat fight. I've had to pick up my command crew that I have with me because sometimes they get obliterated. So sometimes I may pick a strategy that I use them to distract while I hit them from another side to take advantage of like flanking and such things. Different weapons have different powers. Because if you notice, I have a phaser rifle, and it has a sniper shot, which does target and then shoot, which does like you aim and shoot, and it does massive damage.
I'm just doing some space combat here.
So I'm just kicking the Klingons off the ship here. And we're going to boost power to weapons because I am tactical and that's what we do. And as you can tell, we are in a torpedo room, hence these torpedoes along the walls getting ready to be fired. And essentially I brought a crew down here that will man the torpedo room, I think, because I'm pretty sure they stay while I go and secure more of the ship.
Might have to end up changing some of my controls around. I usually do, and I haven't done it yet for this character.
Yeah. Field cadet. Healing all these cadets that are injured. And here they are. Well, some bad things happen. I will leave it at that. And you become, since you were number one, you have to take charge of the ship.
Yeah, you go from being an ensign to in command relatively quickly. At least the other factions don't seem to be as random, I guess. I mean, with the Dominion in particular, you start off as a first, so you're already in command. The Romulans, you're basically a refugee, and you kind of get command of a ship out of necessity.
Controller. Huh. I have a controller. I wonder how that would be for space combat.
I've never tried it. I do the old mouse and keyboard.
That's what I've done for the most part. I do change settings a little bit. I'm just going to go for a quick change here before I get into combat because I know that's happening. I tend to just fire all weapons to space bar.
I use the space bar for shields.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know. Let's see.
All ships.
That'll get me through this part. So this is the ship you start with by default.
My ship is not actually the one you start with. There's a portion of the startup where it enabled me to pick a new ship, and I went ahead and got one that was a purchased vessel, and it works pretty well this way.
Nice thing about the Dominion ships is once you max out the ships pretty much have their own leveling system, and once you max out the essentially level system on the ship, you unlock it for all of your alts. So you can fly whatever with whoever eventually.
With the Dominion, their ships are all pretty powerful anyway. Oh, I just got blown up. Got too close to another explosion.
Hurry! We don't know our target status.
If your ship blows up in this game, you go back to a respawn point. You don't actually lose anything. So death is pretty light in this.
Here they're trying to teach me to use my torpedoes when once shields are down. It's ideal to burn through the shields with like a phase, some kind of beam attack or well, one of the other attacks, and then because otherwise the torpedo will just impact on the shield and not do really much of anything. And here I'm calling for backup. Full impulse, crazy talk. Yeah. Go faster, ship. If you're ever curious on your weapons and what their targeting range or arc is, you can mouse over the weapon specifically out here, and it will show you the arc around your ship. Oh, and I had my finger on the wrong button. That's why some of this wasn't working the way Why am I not turning? Use a high-yield torpedo. Yeah, I just did that. Weren't you paying attention? Ah, the tutorial.
Well, they have to teach everybody how to play the game.
I know.
I mean, otherwise you just have randomness and chaos.
Random and chaos. Sounds like fun. To see what your target is shield-wise, up in the middle top of the screen. Here, I'm not in combat anymore. I just blew them up. So, I think we have one more thing to fight. Be able to see it there. Or, well, you're no longer in space.
I will be here shortly.
I was like, I'll be back in combat here in a second. I'm rendezvousing. Maybe I'm done? I don't know. Oh, there it is. So, when you target something, you look, we've taken out a lot of the shields on one side of the ship already. If you can keep hitting that side, it will yeah, you'll end up doing more damage to the ship because you don't have to burn through the shields again. If you're using a cruiser, they like to use beam marays.
Fight well.
And here they keep giving me more and more like command crew, more officers. Don't worry a whole lot when you first start playing on officers. Eventually you're going to want to have a decent grouping of each, because you'll get, you know, science, engineering, and tactical officers.
Well, I thought I was heading back to space soon. Apparently not. I am not as fond of the ground combat as I am the space combat.
I feel kind of the same way here, you know. Ground is fine and all, but
this game just really does space combat well. Pretty standard ground combat. It's not dissimilar from just about any other MMO that you could play, but the space combat's pretty nice. The biggest request that people have had since the game was released was they want to be able to do like barrel rolls and complete 360 movement, and the game has not given us that. I kind of understand why. I think that's a little unreal of an expectation for a video game. But they did incorporate some pilot maneuvers that enables your ship to do like barrel rolls and whatnot, which is kind of cool.
well, and they put in physics for the space combat. So the bigger ship you have, the slower it's going to turn. The heavier it is. There's even differences, like cruisers are the biggest ships, but there's even differences between certain sections of cruisers. You have some lighter cruisers and some of the heavier, beefier cruisers, and there is still noticeably difference in turn rates with those. So don't expect to be able to turn on a dime. You have to deal with physics a little bit.
Well, you got to see through our primary target, which was the character creation. The secondary target, which we didn't announce, was talking about features of the game, which we have done. You got to see some aspects of combat. You got to see some of the various HUD displays.
If you want to change your HUD, you could have all kinds of, there's a rearrange HUD. Everything is movable. You just have to decide.
Yeah, with the F, you hit F12 to bring up that, and you can move everything or make certain aspects disappear, bring it back if they were not there previously. I'll display this real quick here.
Well, I did the, like, in space. You can also get it from hitting escape in the main menu. There's rearrange HUD. So if you don't remember which F key it is, which that's my problem a lot of the time. But you can set it up however you want. Too many games kind of miss that aspect on what... I like to move stuff. For the most part, the default is okay, but I like to move stuff to how I like it, you know.
Well, the customability is the one thing that STO does really well. As you saw with the character creator, you have tons of options. For ships, it is very similar. Actually, I believe for our next session, we're going to detail some of the various ships and how you can customize those vessels. A ship is really like an entirely different character. You have just as much control over it, or nearly as much control over your ship as you do your individual character. And getting gear for your ship can be just as hard, just as challenging, and just as rewarding as it is for your character. Ah, here, I am going back to space. There you go.
I'm in combat too, but like you can see their like where you're hitting them, their shields going down, and it will tell you their hull strength. Down on the bottom, by default, it will show you a similar but larger display for your ship. If you start seeing it decrease below, you know, your hull, which is the center, the 100% for me right now, it will, you can blow up.
Yeah, I did earlier.
Don't get discouraged blowing up.
You've done well.
It happens. Sometimes a lot. Some missions I find are much harder leveling up than what you know.
Slow down those Earth ships. Much easier to hit that.
Fortunately, you can't really fail from just blowing up typically. I don't know that many missions have a fail.
There's some where, like you're on a timer or something. Most of those are patrols or similar. The actual missions, you can get stuck. Like, if you're not geared well enough, you can get to a fight that you just can't beat. But in most missions, you can leave and come back to it later.
And if you have friends, they can join up with you and match your level and help you out. That is something I have always loved about this game, is like many times Nikitas has come and helped me, or I've helped him, or you know, and we've grouped up and done missions that he's completed before or I've completed before. We still get rewards at our appropriate levels.
Mayday,
so
Mayday. We're barely holding on here. Can anyone help?
It's fun to team up. I really, that's something else that this game handles really well, is the team up aspect. None of it's required, but I do think it's a lot of fun.
there are fleets out there that some are more social than others. Some are, depending upon when they're on, depends on whether or not you can catch anyone and get help. But you know,
Force is coming your way. I will assist you.
We have a pretty good fleet in here, but we don't own it, so I'm not going to plug it too much.
what do you mean we don't own it? I guess I sort of, I don't really own it, but I'm in charge of a fleet. I am the fleet director. That's what we named our top person. We also have a secondary fleet director as well. So that way, if one or the other has life stuff going on, that we will be okay. You know, someone can handle the fleet while the other one's busy. Okay. Hail Nog. If you ever forget what missions you have, they're always on the right here with like they'll tell you briefly. Then also you have your mission log. And
here, actually got to this relatively quickly. Here is where you get to pick your faction. As a Jem'Hadar character, you can choose to join Starfleet or the Klingon Empire. The Romulans get this choice too, although it takes them much longer to get to that point.
the Romulans do take a while.
Interesting.
So they wanted to explain story-wise why the Romulans would be doing such a thing. So, I mean, they dumped in a lot of lore there, so yeah. I'd say it's worth playing through Romulan to get the story. I do like Romulan characters a little bit, though now anyone can fly the ships, so I do like that change.
Well, I think we're out of time for today, aren't we, Greebog?
Yeah, I think that's probably good enough. I mean, we're at an hour and a half, so thank you everybody for watching. Those that have stayed up too late and should be in bed probably should go to bed. She knows who she is.
I may be in that list.
But
I hope you all enjoyed the show. As I stated, next time I believe we're going to focus on ships. I'll double check that. We'll make an announcement on our Facebook page. And of course, when we start up next time, we'll let you know what we're going to talk about.
we can do ships. There's so much to do on ships. But if you like what you see, definitely follow us on Twitch here.
Share us.
Share us. If you follow us, it'll let you know when we're going live next. Though I also do stream World of Warcraft on Tuesdays and Fridays typically. So those I might be a little more, I guess, vulgar at times. So if you're a child, don't watch.
Parental guidance.
Parental guide. Yeah, you know. But I will be getting this onto a YouTube channel here soon. Fortunately, the export from Twitch to YouTube has been failing, so it looks like I'll have to take a different path to get it there. So it'll just take a little more time, but I will get the episodes there for other people.
Thank you for watching, guys, and as always, see you out there.
Talk to you later.